I love Square-1. It's an event that rewards dedication and hard work like no other. The top Square-1 solvers in the world are an example of that fact, learning gigantic algorithm sets to get the slightest edge on their competition. But as the least popular non-PBQ event in the WCA, many people aren't familiar with the top-level solvers and the methods they use. And it's a darn shame, because I think that Square-1 is one of the most spectator-friendly events out there. Learning about these top players will improve your Worlds 2025 experience a lot. So, in this video, I'll be going over the top 5 seeds for Square-1, as well as some honorable mentions. We will be answering the question, who will win Square-1 at Worlds 2025? Also, if you are on this list, maybe skip this video, as it might pile some pressure on you that you don't need. But then again, nobody listened the last time I said this. The 5th seed, with a 5.56 average and a 353 single, is Brendan Dunnigan. If you watched my last video, you may recognize this cuber as being a top seed for Clock, but he's also really strong in Square-1, and has been since 2022. He was one of the first to break the sub-6 barrier for average, and he was the first to break it without OBL. He was a finalist at both US Nasts and North American Championships. What sets him apart was aptly summarized in this comment by Dylan Bombach. A few people can turn like that at home, but to do it in comp is very rare. He's able to hit over 4 SPS in competition, which is crazy. Even if some of his PBL solutions are suboptimal, his fluidity and speed more than make up for it. At the same time though, this fact may be his downfall, as in a high pressure environment, the first thing to go is your turning. Brendan has yet to get a really good comp performance in a big competition final, but as seen in his other events, he has the clutch factor necessary for a win. Just 1.5 years ago, he switched from COEO to OBL and has lowered his PRs by half a second. His current PR average is also probably worse than he should have, since he's gotten 3 official averages around that range. If he gets a really good set of scrambles, then a 5.2 or even 4.9 average can be expected, but his recent rounds hint at an average around 5.9 or 6.0, which is good enough for bronze. The 4th seed, with a 5.37 average and a 4.31 single, is David Epstein. David was one of the best Square-1 solvers a few years ago, getting world record single and average and the 3rd official sub-6 average. He's still top 5 2 years after his PR, which is crazy. Recently, he's turned his attention to conquering Australian FMC and big cubes. Respectable, but it also means that his Square-1 results have fell off hard. Maybe he's practicing the event now for Worlds, but I doubt it. David has a great list of impressive Square-1 accomplishments, but the psych sheet will lie to you. Expect impressive FMC results from him, but not a Square-1 podium. The 3rd seed, with a 491 average and a 391 single, is Max Shaw. Max Shaw is the former double world record holder, breaking both the sub-6 and sub-5 barriers. He got the most historic world record in Square-1 history in 2022 with a 5.02 average, and held onto this record until 2024. During these 2 years, he was easily the most consistently sub-6 solver. Nowadays, he's shifted his focus to other events. But unlike David, he's still a really good Square-1 solver, podiuming at North American Championships with a 5.86 average. He's a bit slower than before, but he's still in the low 6 range, which isn't good enough for the podium, but could yield him top 5. But at the same time, he has yet to get a sub-6 average in 2025. The more concerning thing is his previous performance at Worlds, where he got a 5.5 average in semifinals, but got a 7 average in finals, crumbling under the pressure. Then again, that was 2 years ago, and it's conceivable that he's gotten better in stressful situations given his sub-6 in NAC finals, but it's an element of fluctuation to watch for. If he's practiced and prepared enough to perform as well as he did during his prime, then a gold upset is in the cards. Alright, now time for the honorable mentions. These are the solvers that I think are at least able to podium, as they are on par or even better than some of the solvers that I talked about despite their slower PRs and rankings. After all, cubing is unpredictable by nature, and anyone could surprise us. The 9th seed, with a 5.81 average and a 4.46 single, is Daniel Karnak. To a newbie, his profile may seem very impressive, but nothing podium-worthy. His recent results are peppered with mid-7 and 8 averages, but that's only until you look at his performances in big Square-1 finals. He's one of only 2 people to ever get 3 back-to-back Worlds podiums. He podiumed at Cubing USA Nationals 3 times and got 4th place in the most recent North American Championships. These podiums aren't just flukes either. They aren't just because everyone else got bad averages. In final situations, he pulls low 6 and sub-6 averages that are centiseconds away from his PR. The reason for this is because he is the most efficient Square-1 solver out there. He He's the only Square-1 solver that knows full 1-alg PBL, a giant algorithm set requiring over 900 algorithms. Learning it all can reduce your slice count by around 2 or 3 slices per solve, and as a result could cut times by half or even 1 second. As the solver that is the least reliant on their turning, his solving style is resilient in high-pressure situations. Combined with his years of experience in Pro Square-1, and you have a pretty stable bet that Daniel will get a good average in Worlds Finals. It's not just expected, it's inevitable. Winning the competition may not be possible for him, but bronze is well within reason. And getting 4 podiums in a row would immortalize him as a contender for the best Square-1 solver of all time. The 7th seed, with a 574 average and a 415 single, is Rasmus Stubb Detlefsen. Rasmus is back. Well, actually he never left, but original gamers will know that he and Vincenzo were dominant in 2018 and 2019. Rasmus snagged 4 world records to his name during that era. But almost 7 years later, he's still up to date on the newest methods, the newest hardware, and the newest skill level. In October 2023, Rasmus learned OBL and PBL and immediately established himself as a force to be reckoned with. His solving was immaculate and consistent, and he was able to get a sub-6 average officially, with sub-5 averages at home. He got European champion in 2024 against tough competition like Alessandro Ricci and Mikhail Krasowski, and has made a name for himself as a serious competitor. Now the 574 from May 2024 is still his PR average, but that doesn't mean that he hasn't improved over the past year. Quite the contrary, he learned OBLP, a method that takes months to learn and even longer to put into practice. The reward for learning this method is great, cutting up to a second if done well. His first official solve with OBLP was this February. Given how new he is to the method, it may be risky for him to use officially, but if he does, then it has the potential to set him apart from most of his competition. He also has the hardware advantage. He's sponsored by GAN, which is working on its new Square-1 at the moment, and this cube is supposed to be much better than the MGC. The only hair in the soup is his official performance. At home he gets mid-5 averages of 12 easily, but in competition, he's around the 6.1 to 5.8 range, which is still really good, but his performance doesn't match his skill level. They are consistent, don't get me wrong, but more is possible for him. So he's a live wire, capable of getting gold, but it's unlikely. The 6th seed, with a 558 average and a 410 single, is Brian Johnson. So Brian's performance has been really good. I mean, actually really great. I mean, downright amazing. Like surprisingly so, for someone who couldn't even get a sub-7 average a year ago. After learning OBL in April 2024, Brian lowered his PR by over a second and since steadily improved his global average. He's only 0.03 seconds away from the 5th seed, Brendan Dunnigan. He's a seasoned competitor with insane official results in 2x2, one-handed, and 3x3 most recently. In fact, he should be, with over a decade of experience under his belt. When he puts his mind to an event, top 10 results are unavoidable. His recent Square-1 rounds are too good to be true, with nothing but low 6 and sub 6 averages for days. This sort of performance is the most consistent of the people we've talked about so far. So in theory, he is the most likely to get a solid average in Worlds Finals. However, in practice, he has yet to get a good Square-1 performance in a high-intensity round, and he's reeling from a 9 average in the last NEC Finals. But he's better and more confident nowadays, so we will see how good he is at Worlds. Alright, now we're at the top 2 seeds. These next 2 solvers are by far the best squanners going into Worlds. They are leagues ahead of any possible competition, and they are both fighting for the gold medal. Sparks will fly at Worlds, and they will be at the center of it. So, without further ado, the 2nd seed, with a 480 average and a 371 single, is Hassan Kanani. This former Square-1 world record single holder was 3rd place at World Championships in 2023. So 2 years ago, he was already on that timing, and he's only gotten better since then. At the last North American Championships, he got 2nd place with a 530 average. At Euros, he got 1st place with a 629 average. Although he's had some disappointing performances at some regional championships, I don't think those matter that much, and I would say he has proven himself in high-intensity rounds. The second thing going for him is his method. Like Rasmus, he's one of the handful of people who can use OBLP in competition. In fact, he does it almost every solve. This sets him apart from 99% of other competitors and allows him to get sub-5 singles regularly. His potential with this method is just now being realized. His PR has the potential to be in the mid-4 and sub-4.5 range. Even on a set of bad scrambles, it seems that mid-5 is possible for him. Finally, he's become immensely familiar with using OBLP in competition, given how many he goes to. He may be the best in this regard. All this is reflected in his consistently low 5 official results. He just came off an insane streak of 5-0 and 5-1 averages, lasting 9 rounds with 2 sub-5 averages. He's tied for most sub-5 averages officially, and he has the world record for rolling average of 50 by around 0.2 seconds. He would be a shoo-in for world champion if it wasn't for the first seed. The first seed, with a 463 average and a 342 single, is Samir Agarwal. Samir is the current world record holder for average. His first world record was in 2021, and he's invariably been a top-level solver since. He was the second person to get a sub-6 average officially. He's the current reigning national and world champion, winning the previous worlds by over half a second. And he's back to defend his title. He got the first sub-4.7 average in January of 2025, shattering Dylan's world record by over 0.1 seconds. He did this with OBLP, the method that only 2 other seeds can use in competition. This would stay the world record until next month, when Samir surprised the world and himself with another world record average. But this average was special because it had the first and the second counting 3 ever achieved in competition. If it wasn't for the 620, Samir would have gotten a low or sub-4 average. To my knowledge, nobody else is capable of this. Only 8 people in the world have a sub-4 single, and Samir could have gotten a sub-4 average. Finally, Samir has the fastest 3 results for Square-1 average out of everybody. He is dominant in this category for sure. So why isn't it obvious then? Samir has 3 averages sub Hassan's PR, so shouldn't Samir win? Well, it's complicated. Samir has higher highs than Hassan, but also lower lows, still getting low 6 and high 5 averages too often for comfort. In the small average statistics, Samir is the clear winner, but in the large average statistics, Hassan takes gold. Out of the last 11 rounds, Hassan has had 10 out of 11 sub 5.8 averages, and Samir has had 6 out of 11. Of course, one of those averages was a 4.69 for Samir, so it is tough to predict with certainty who will win. However, I guess it is more fun for us, the audience, when we have 2 competitors so evenly matched in skill and method, with a half dozen more riding on their coattails. Square-1 Worlds Finals is just a few days away. It will be the first Worlds with OBLP and the final Worlds with the MGC Square-1, hopefully. 759 competitors, 54 countries, and 1 stage. I will be watching. The question is, will you? Thanks to Zigmanek for the video suggestion. Hopefully I win the race against the clock and release this before Square-1 Finals. I don't think anybody would watch it after the fact. This channel is sponsored by SpeakCube Shop. Use code NOTME at checkout for 5% off of your order.